Well, you know what? When I was taking my recruiting visits, I went to Utah State, and Coach Jim Herrick, the great coach, whole coach at UCLA, Coach Herrick was at Utah, and he brought me up for a recruiting trip, and it was in like December, January, right then the time that you could go. And I'll never forget this. Is that was my first recruiting trip, leaving California because I love sun and the nice weather and stuff. So I go up there, and he says, "Coop, you know what? You're gonna love this place." And he had a great home. The team was good. The nice facilities in there. And then he took me snowmobile riding. And we went out, and I was having so much fun because the first time I had been in snow, I didn't know what snow was. So I'm riding around. We got about a mile and a half, 2 miles away from his home because he had this huge field, and the machine broke down.
Oh no.
And his son was with me, and he was like, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna ride back, and I'm gonna get my dad and come back." So as he turns to go back, his runs out of gas. So we're a mile and a half, 2 miles away from his home, and you can see it. It was like a little dot in the horizon over there, and we had to walk in about thigh-deep snow. And as we were walking, all I kept thinking was, "Lord, please get me home because I'll never leave Southern California warm weather again." So long story short, I made it back. I was sitting there, and coach was giving me the spiel and stuff the next day. And I said, "Coach, you know what? When my plane leave?" He goes, "Oh, you're going to be leaving in a little bit." I never heard anything after that. So I get on my plane and I go home. I get home, and I remember he called me the next day. "Hey, Coop, you have a good time?" I said, "Coach, listen, I'm not coming to Utah State," because I wasn't dealing with no snow. So my next visit was to New Mexico. And I go to New Mexico, and I'll never forget this because at the time that like they have it now, when your plane goes and you go through the tunnel, you never get to see outside other than looking out your window. But back then they used to pull those big stairs up to the door. And I remember walking out of the plane and turning, and I looked back west, and I could almost see my house. And I said, "You know what? This is the place for me." And I had made up my mind right then. So go down the steps, go to the pit. That was the second thing that sold me. The pit, probably one of the best fan-based colleges that you can play at. I mean, I've never seen that many people in my life in an arena. The most I played in front of was 125 at our high school gym. And then at college, we didn't at JC, we didn't have a lot of following. We had about 300 people there. So seeing 19,505, 1756, or whatever it was in there, that was a thing. But what sold me was at that time they were having a racial tension down there. And it was a big thing going back in 1976, 77. And all the Black players were boycotting. So they all walked off the team. I mean, you had some Michael Patterson, P.D. Gibbs, you had some pretty good players, but they were protesting against something. And so Ellenberger told us, he said, "Listen, if you guys come here, I only have two players on the team." And one of them happened to be Danny Davis, who played at Pasadena High School with me. He played a year before me, so he had left and went to New Mexico. Long story short, all the players was gone, and I remember Coach Ellenberger saying, "Listen, I got 7 JUCO All-Americans coming in. I was one of many, Marvin Johnson, and he said, I'm gonna throw the ball up, and the best 5 will start." And I said, "You know what? I'm going to be part of that." And that's why I chose New Mexico. Obviously, the weather played a part, but it was the best decision I ever made. Great, great university. I had a wonderful time there. Coach Ellenberger taught me that tenacity defense on how to get up in people and want to smother them.